Hey, welcome. I hope you guys are doing so good. Thank you so much for joining me. Today's reading is The Person on Your Mind. What do you need to know about them? We have three groups for you to choose from: Group 1, Group 2, and Group 3. If you need to pause the video so you can take some time to choose your group, feel free, but I will see you guys in your readings. Hey, welcome. If you've chosen the first group, what do you need to know about the person on your mind? We have the Fool upright, Four of Cups in reverse, and the Nine of Cups also in reverse. So what you need to know about them is that they are open-minded. They could be very unique and don't really like to stick to what's considered normal or conventional. They like things and people that are different and don't really fit into a box. It feels like they could be someone that really values individuality as well. It feels like they are also adventurous, not necessarily like a thrill seeker, but they do like change and trying new things and just living life. They also tend to be quite fearless as well. They like to approach new opportunities without hesitation. They could be religious or spiritual and believe heavily in, fate and stuff like that, and trusting the process and, trusting the signs and listening to the signs that they might get. But it feels like they could be both unpredictable and predictable. For example, they could be emotionally unpredictable or unpredictable when it comes to, them being adventurous, but they could be quite predictable when it comes to their stability and things that impact their stability. Another thing you need to know about them is that they are both optimistic and realistic. So just because they are optimistic, it doesn't mean they are like naive or idealistic in any way. And it also feels like you shouldn't put too much trust into them just yet, even though they could be trustworthy. This is random, but for some of you, if you trust this person too soon and maybe show them that you trust them too soon, they can maybe be wary of you, and you could potentially, trap yourself by trusting them too soon. And there's like a message. Eight of Swords in reverse, Ace of Cups in reverse. So something about allowing things to come full circle naturally, so not like trusting too soon. I don't know why that's a message, but and it may also be weird for them as they have a hard time trusting, but that won't stop them from being nice, present, just try to not mistake their positive feelings for trust. For some of you, they may not even believe in trust, like they trust their higher powers and stuff like that. But when it comes to maybe new people in their life, maybe not so much. Maybe established connections that they do have, they do have some trust in there. But yeah, for some of you, they could have some issues when it comes to that. So you also may need to know that they can appear impulsive, but you may not see the planning that goes into some of the things they do. It does seem like they have like mostly a carefree nature, but they aren't naive. They don't easily let things get to them though, you know? Another thing is that they can appear light-hearted, they can appear light-hearted, carefree, but under the surface they are still quite serious as well. Like they could be much more switched on and aware than they might appear. It also feels like they could struggle with committing to people, and this could be in any capacity really, like friendships, romantic relationships. It feels like they like connecting with people, but they don't take those commitments lightly either. And another thing you need to know about them is that they could be very adventurous now because they spent a long time being stagnant and controlled, and it feels like they refuse to kind of live like that anymore. They could also be noticing things about you that they previously ignored. I won't try to clarify what that means because it could be very different. But I might do a separate reading on this in the next few days. Like, what have they noticed and realized about you? Um, but another thing you need to know about them is that they can be emotionally withdrawn, but they aren't necessarily apathetic. It feels like they are open to connection, but they are also cautious of emotional connection as well. They could also struggle with indecision. Another thing you need to know about them is that breaking old patterns and learning is very important to them. Sometimes they can overindulge themselves as well. Like they could sometimes get lost in some of the things that they really like. It feels like they are still working through expectations they've had that haven't been met yet. And external validation could be important to them. They can sometimes maybe focus on what they don't have as opposed to what they do have. And another thing for some of you is that they can be lonely. Okay, moving on, we have so pure, yet so dirty and raw. We have speechless, let's piss off the neighbors, don't hold back. You need to let this go. Your skin looks like silk. I'm not a mind reader. And a random extra card, you have a beautiful smile and beautiful eyes. We have angel, tap into your higher wisdom. We have progress, not perfection. And we also have union of love. And I shall do these ones at the end. So with this card here, what you need to know about them is that at the moment they do view your connection as pure, like nice. And calm as well. They also view your connection as fresh, and with angel, tap into your higher wisdom, it also feels like they are on a journey to kind of tap into their inner wisdom. It feels like at the moment they don't really perceive themselves as wise enough, and they're on a journey to kind of achieve that. And with your skin looks like silk, another thing you may need to know about them is that they could value physical touch. That could be important to them. And with let's piss off the neighbors, don't hold back. Another thing you may need to know about them is that they might not like to hold back, and they may not like when other people hold back, especially on the account of other people. And union of love was clarified by the Sun and the Two of Cups. It feels like uniting and connecting with someone when it comes to love is something that is very important to them. It's something that they take seriously as well. It's not something that they view lightly or enter into a situation, like willy-nilly, And with you need to let this go, they may be someone that doesn't really see the point in holding on to stuff, and they may not really like that quality in other people just who kind of maybe hold on to things for too long. Or they kind of just don't really find themselves compatible with people who hold on to things. Another thing you need to know is that they do like the connection that you guys have so far. And with this card here, another thing you need to know about them is that they do feel that your face, in particular, is very inviting. Like it draws them in, like your facial features. And it doesn't even feel like it's specific to you, smiling or anything like that. But something about you just draws them in, regardless of whether you're smiling or not. And with I'm not a mind reader, it feels like that's about you specifically as well. It feels like they want direct communication from you, because they aren't a mind reader and they're not going to kind of, proceed as if they are. So it feels like they do need either very clear indications or very clear communication from you. And another thing, with progress, not perfection, this also feels like it's about you. It feels like they want you to focus on your progress, your growth, instead of, being perfect or appearing perfect. It feels like they value imperfection, and it feels like not necessarily that they want you to be imperfect or see you imperfect, but they don't want you to kind of force yourself to be perfect either. They just want you to kind of continue focusing on your growth and your progress. And with speechless, another thing you need to know about them is that sometimes they may not know what to say. So yeah. And finally, we have loud, we have goofy, and we also have nice. So another thing you need to know is that they could just be a nice person, like a decent person. It feels like this goofy card is about you though. It feels like they perceive you as quite goofy, and it's something that they do find endearing about you. And another thing you may need to know about them is that they either like it that you're loud, or they just perceive you as loud, or they, typically like people who can be quite loud. Like, don't really fit into a box. That was clarified by the Six of Wands. So maybe someone that kind of stands out. It doesn't have to be like vocally loud. It can be loud in terms of your presence, your aura. But it could also be in terms of like your voice and stuff like that. But anyways, that is all I have for those of you who chose this group. I really do hope it could be helpful, make sense. I'm wishing you guys the best. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope I see you guys again soon. Okay, please take care. Bye. Hey, welcome. If you've chosen the second group, then this reading could be for you. The person on your mind, what do you need to know about them? So we have Ten of Swords upright, Queen of Pentacles upright, and the Two of Pentacles in reverse. Okay, so please only take these messages if they make sense. But something you need to know about them is that they want to keep their distance from you. If there has already been an ending between you guys, they want things to stay that way. You need to know that reconciliation with them may not be on the cards for now. If you even want that from them, it could have been their intention to hurt you and to not see you doing well. They may not want to see you with someone else or see you getting close with other people. Some of you need to know that they aren't going through a tough time emotionally or mentally. Some of you maybe have that impression, but it seems like they're actually doing very well with the Queen of Pentacles being here. It feels like they're maybe enjoying stability, having a good time, maybe, living their best life. Honestly, they could feel like they've knocked you down a peg or two, like they feel like they've won or they have won over on you, and they kind of just feel like they've beaten you in some way. And for whatever reason, they feel that you backstabbed them and you were the one that let them down. I don't know if this is random or not, but for some of you, they feel betrayed due to their friend or someone they know wanting you. It may not even be in a romantic way. It could just be someone they know wanting to get closer to you, even if it is just friendly. But it feels like they're not going to do anything to get in between that situation. And for some of you, that could be a part of their payback, as this other person may not have the best intentions towards you. So it feels like they almost, are not happy that you're connecting with this person, but it feels like they expect a negative outcome. So they're kind of just letting it be. It feels like you need to know that this person doesn't want to see you doing well. They want you to experience betrayal. For some of you, they could even want you to hit rock bottom. You need to know that they are trying to be more realistic about you, letting go of what they believe were illusions that they had of you. It's almost like they feel like they're seeing you more clearly now. Before, they could have felt like they had maybe more of an idealistic view of you. And you need to know that their perspective of you has changed drastically. So, they may continue to be or seem distant and withdrawn. And another random message, but you need to know that they don't want you to trust them, and they could want you to view them negatively for whatever reason, and that they don't want or need your help, maybe at all or anymore. So yeah, another thing you need to know is that they are ready for a fresh start in, the other areas of their life and, concerning you as well. And it also feels like they aren't really trying to look for any closure. In fact, they feel like they've already, you know, have closure in this situation. They also feel like, you're the one that's going through a tough period, and, they could be, happy that you aren't going through the best time as well. So yeah, they kind of feel like right now you are in crisis mode and that they've, cut you deep, even if, you're doing perfectly fine. And they also feel like you're finally accepting some kind of truth about yourself. So I'm going to use these cards to see what truth they feel like um, you've accepted about yourself. So it could just be one card that resonates with you. It could be all, could be some, but we have formal, we have goofy, we have intense, and we have mischievous. So yeah, they could feel like you've come to some realization about yourself. And for some of you, the message could be within those cards. But moving on, it feels like you need to know that they are nurturing. They could also be nurturing other connections. They're feeling stable. It feels like they're working hard on their continued stability as well. Another thing you may need to know about them is that they actually are quite generous. Even if, they didn't show you that generosity, maybe they're quite selective with who they are generous with. But it feels like they're working hard right now. You need to know that, they think and they thought you were very beautiful and attractive, and, they value the physical connection that you guys may have had, or just the physical attraction they had to you, depending on, your relationship to them. I could go on, but it just feels like kind of like piling on negativity, and I don't want to do that. But moving forward, it feels like this person essentially doesn't wish you well. So moving on, what you need to know about this person, we have shadow work, we have, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little jealous, we have instant connection, we have trauma, we have I hope you can understand, and we have I'm sorry. We have shopping, pay attention to what energizes you. We have socialize or join in. And we also have slow down to relax. And I will read these ones after. So with shadow work, another thing you may need to know about them is that they could be someone that does things in the shadows as opposed to like up front. Like they could be I don't know if sneaky is the right word, but it does feel like they operate in the shadows though, whatever that might mean for your situation. And with shopping, pay attention to what energizes you. It feels like they're also trying to, or in the past, tried to get in the way of things that maybe energized you, made you feel good. Another thing you need to know is that they weren't as understanding or as empathetic and sympathetic as they may have seemed. So for some of you with instant connection, they could feel that you have maybe instant and maybe intense connections with a lot of people, And because of that, they feel like your connection wasn't special or isn't special, you know? So with trauma and with I'm sorry, it feels like you need to know that they may not care if they hurt you. They don't really care if, you know, you're sorry or if you want to fix things or if you're empathetic in regards to them and the situation that you guys could be in. So with slow down to relax, it also feels like you need to know that this person wants for you to slow down in your life. It's like they kind of want, like they don't want you to experience progress almost. And with socialize or join in, it feels like they're very much making new connections or wanting to make new connections. And with I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little jealous. It feels like they also want for you to be jealous. So we also have competitive, we have supportive, and we have undemanding. Another thing you need to know about them is that they could be quite competitive. They could like to be supported as well. And with undemanding, it also feels like they don't want you to demand anything of them moving forward or ask anything of them. But that is all I have for those of you who chose this group. I'm sorry if, you know, some of the messages aren't what you wanted to hear. I do wish you guys the best though, and thank you for watching, and I hope I see you guys again soon. Okay, please take care. Bye. Hello, welcome. If you've chosen the third group, then this reading could be for you. The person on your mind, or what do you need to know about them at the moment? So we have the Ace of Pentacles in reverse, Ten of Cups upright, Six of Cups in reverse. Okay. So what you need to know about them is that they are interested in you, but they can't really make an effort at the moment. For some of you, it's because they're feeling intimidated. It could be something you are more aware of, though. It could also be that they don't have much stability in some area of their life, or just for whatever reason, they aren't able to kind of express their interest or move forward with their interest. Some of you may need to know that they maybe are quite awkward, or they can be quite awkward at times. They could also be seeking your approval, and they could feel that they'd be able to make more of an effort once they do get your approval. So for some of you as well, you need to know that they also feel like you're being held back. Could be by a person, and it feels like they do want to do something about it. Another thing you need to know about them is that there is something external to them that is blocking their potential at the moment, things that are out of their control. but it feels like they are still trying to push forward and, push through it. Nine of Wands. And at the moment, they may not be able to see where their talents and their strengths lie because they are so focused on, maybe trying to, push through and push past certain things at the moment. Could be due to the pressure they're under, maybe even a lack of confidence. Another thing you need to know about them is that they could be quite slow moving. It feels like they are maybe hesitant. They could be hesitant in general, when it comes to like moving forward with certain things. They could quite like, what they're used to, not stepping out of their comfort zone. And, because of this, they may actually accept missing an opportunity with you because they don't know if you could or would want to be patient with them. They could also be quite defensive in their partnerships, in their relationships, friendships. And this could be because they like to be the one in charge, or they have like a certain vision, so they feel like they have to be the one, to kind of take the lead. Another thing you need to know about them is that their stability is very important to them. And it feels like this is something they are trying to work on. They could also be overly analytical. And when it comes to you, it feels like they're both overthinking things, and other times where they're just trying to put you out of their mind so they don't overthink things too much. And, overall, it just feels like they are delaying starting things up with you, or maybe some kind of fresh start, depending on who you're asking about. And it feels like they may not take that initiative anytime soon as well. And, they could actually be someone that does lack initiative in general at this point in their lives. But they do seem emotionally open, both in general and towards you. Family and friends could be very important to them as well. Even though they are emotionally open, they may not be emotionally fulfilled right now. But despite that, and some of the things that they are experiencing, it feels like they still have this positive outlook. And their home could be their sanctuary, or like when they're around their friends and their families. It feels like they do like feeling safe. They like feeling comforted and loved. And, they could be, they could just like the norm and the usual. They could also be quite spiritual, and they could be looking for someone, and, people in general that they do have a spiritual connection with. Mutual trust is important to them as well. And, they could be someone that is quite supportive. Once you have a solid relationship with them, they could be quite reliable. So it feels like they do like to socialize. They could like a party as well. So yeah, they may not be entirely, content at the moment, but it feels like they are grateful. They could also be someone that can sometimes be stuck in the past. They can sometimes romanticize the past as well. And at the moment, they do seem, resistant to change. And they could be someone that rarely self-reflects. Maybe it's something they're not entirely aware of, or something that they just don't really see the point in doing. So moving on, we have please don't say no, please say yes. We have take the lead. We have at this point, you're just playing yourself. We have you are sexy. We have bitter. I don't like drama. Drop into the deep end of your soul. Let yourself feel all of your emotions. Return to joy. And I shall do these ones after. So with please don't say no, please say yes, it also feels like they could be afraid of rejection. With bitter being here as well, like they could be someone that could be quite bitter at times. They could be like quite resentful at times, not all the time. And with falling, drop into the deep end of your soul, it also feels like they're quite fearful of getting lost too much in their emotions and, diving too deep into their feelings. It feels like they would rather like analyze their feeling as opposed to like feeling their feelings. So with this card here, it also feels like they avoid or try to avoid playing themselves or, again, like venturing too far out of their comfort zone, taking risks, making changes. And it could be because they don't want to end up playing themselves, or they don't want to end up making a wrong move. And with return to joy, it feels like they are trying to find emotional fulfillment, maybe come back to a place where, and again, like this come back to them idealizing or romanticizing the past. Like they could have felt like they were very happy in the past, like they were in an ideal situation, and it feels like they kind of want to go back to that instead of maybe focusing on the future and what that might hold, and and what any changes might hold for them. So yeah, that could also kind of go back to them living in the past. With you are so sexy, another thing you need to know about them is that they do find you very attractive. With this card here, they could also feel like you're both not interested in drama. And with take the lead, they may also prefer to take the lead when they do feel comfortable with someone or in a certain situation, like when there's stability and, certainty. You feel like they don't really like to take that initiative unless they know that, there is like that kind of certainty in that situation. So you also strike them as a person that feels all of your emotions, that like you don't really hide how you're feeling, and yeah, that's just something that they've noticed about you, something that they feel maybe kind of stood out with you as well. And finally, we have neat, we have discreet, and we also have tough. So with neat, it feels like they like kind of similar to what I was just saying before. It feels like they like when things are neat, like they like when things make sense, like when there isn't that uncertainty. And with discreet, they could also feel like you are quite discreet, maybe hard to read. And that could make it quite difficult for them. That could be with Nine of Swords, that could be something that makes them quite anxious. I'm finally with Tough being clarified by the tower. They could be going through a tough situation at the moment. Maybe trying to avoid change as well, actually. But yeah, that is all I have for those of you who chose this group. I do hope it could be helpful. I'm wishing you guys the best. Thank you for joining me, and I hope I see you guys again soon. Okay, please take care. Bye.